Today we're going to be showing you how to install Boost Auto Parts switchbacks into your mirrors that are currently functioning as running light only. If your mirrors currently are functioning as signal only or signal and running light, please reference a separate Boost Auto Parts video. Boost Auto Parts offers the switchback lights as standalone products as well as in mirrors. If you don't want to have to take apart your mirror to install this product, please feel free to purchase mirrors with the switchbacks pre-installed at boostautoparts.com. We're going to begin by removing the glass on the mirrors. This procedure can be done on the truck or on a bench as shown here. If you have Boost Auto Parts mirrors as well as many aftermarket mirrors, your glass will remove exactly as shown here, but we do recommend watching the Boost Auto Parts video specifically for how to remove your glass, as there are various different methods for removing the glass. If you do break your glass, Boost Auto Parts does stock a full range of glass compatible with all mirrors on the market. To begin, we'll start by just snapping the lower glass off. So we'll just go ahead and snap the upper glass off now. And then if you have any wires running on the back of it, you'll just go ahead and unplug everything. Now we'll just go ahead and telescope the mirror out. Now we're going to remove the 4 or 5 mounting screws for the front shroud. You'll have one here, 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 and here. The OEM one also has another one right here. If you have aftermarket mirrors, these are likely Phillips head screws. If you have OEM mirrors, it's a T15 star bit. So we'll just go ahead and remove those. After that's done, we'll just go ahead and remove the front shroud and unplug the cargo light. Now we're going to remove this front light. Again, if you have OEM mirrors, it's going to be a star bit. If you have aftermarket, it's going to be Phillips head. So you're just going to go ahead and remove these 2 screws and unplug the front light. It's going to have a different connector depending on if you have aftermarket or OEM. We'll just go ahead and unplug it. After the screws are removed, we'll just kind of lift the front shroud up, just like so, and then the light can be removed. Now we have our new switchback provided by Boost Auto Parts. We're just going to go ahead and put that into the mirror. It's important to note that these are marked right and left, so you want to ensure you have the correct side. These use sealed OEM type connectors, and there's also a semi-permeable membrane. When you're installing it, be sure not to damage that semi-permeable membrane. Now we're going to go ahead and put the switchback in. To do that, we'll go ahead and lift the front plate, and then we're going to place the light in. It's important to note that the switchback will sit down on these plastic bosses that come up. You want to feel it latch down onto those bosses and fit perfectly before you screw it together. So go ahead and put the new light in. And again, we're going to just feel that it's lined up with those bosses good. Then we're going to take the front cover, come down with it, and those holes should be perfectly aligned in through here. Do not just screw down. Make sure you're holding it and then screw it. There's 2 different connectors used here. There's the aftermarket style connector and the OEM style connector. You're only going to use one of these connectors. In this case, we're actually showing on an aftermarket mirror. Go ahead and grab that. Again, you want to plug into the one for the front light. These aftermarket mirrors use the same connectors for many different purposes, but just make sure you're plugging in for the front light itself. So in this case, it was running light only. We now have our running light input happening here. Since this is not an OEM mirror, this OEM connector will not be used. Now we're just going to take the T-tap provided by Boost Auto Parts and put it onto the power wire for the signal on glass. On Boost mirrors, this is going to be a red wire with the yellow stripe. On OEM mirrors, this is going to be a red wire with a blue stripe. On other aftermarket mirrors, the wire color will vary, but just find the power wire for the signal on glass and clip the T-tap over it. Just kind of squeeze it. Should hear it clip, just like so. Then you're going to take the disconnect on the red wire with blue stripe, and you're going to plug it in there. Ensure that the metal contact slides into the middle of the T-tap. Now you're just going to plug in the 4-pin plug to the switchback. So do not be alarmed that there's nothing going to one of these connectors. Depending on your mirror, you'll use one or the other. So again, you have your running light input plugging in here. You have your signal tapped to the signal on glass, and you just have the front light in. And as you can see, we took the red and blue wire and just kind of looped around the existing wire loom, take a little bit of that extra slack out of there. And you want everything to be clear of this area right here. Now we're going to start putting the shroud back on by plugging in the cargo light. Now when you're going back on with the front shroud, you're going to start by getting the switchback fitted over here. You should feel it kind of fit together, and then you're going to go ahead and snap the other side over. Then when you're going together with it, you're going to want to kind of hold your arm across the middle and then screw down. Be sure you're screwing straight down. Now we'll go ahead and telescope the mirror back in. Now we'll just put the glass back on. Now there are 3 stabilization pins on the back of the upper glass. Those go inside these 3 areas here, so you're going to want to make sure that those are within there. So go ahead and just plug back in all the connections on the upper glass, and then we'll go ahead and put it back on. Now it's important to note if any of your caps came loose during this entire process, please make sure that you snap them back on. Boost Auto Parts, Aftermarket, Accessory Solutions.